So there is a big one here, everyone, because at what point can you say you are validly defected from a political party? Is that by your mere verbal declaration, or how? How do you determine crisis? The law and precedents in law has also established that what makes a political crisis in a political party, not just one mushroom places or in the world or whatever, at the national level. How can they justify that? The Abegunde, Ifeanyi Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly is a precedent in law on that matter of cross-carpeting and defection. We see how that pans out. But for today, the appeal court judgment stand. Let me bring in Mr. Tonyeko, who, well, he's also in the mix of all of these things. Mr. Tonyeko, thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. Now, I know you've been hearing and listening to what Dr. Samson Asage has said, but those who defected, they defected to your party. So invariably, your party is receiving the benefit of the judgment of today, because those members, the Martins Amewule, are members of the APC because they said they defected to the APC. Let me get your reaction to the appeal court judgment of today.
Well, first of all, Sean, thank you very much for having me. And then secondly, I see that Samson is still on fire, and he has given a good basis for today's discussion. Now, Rivers State is in a very precarious situation right now. The judgment of the appeal court has taken everything almost back to status quo. And now we have an issue where you have an assembly, a House of Assembly, that is contrary to the governor. You ask a question as to whether this is attainable. The governor finds himself in a very precarious political situation. Of course, by presenting the budget back to that assembly, what he's then saying is that that assembly is recognized as the legal assembly. And once that happens, he has to now navigate an impeachment or a possible impeachment issue. Things no balance, my brother. So what is happening right now is a very delicate situation. And unless there is a conversation around peace, it can't end well.
No, but okay, so my first question to you, that's your assessment. First question is in the ilk of what do you see as what has panned out to be in the favor of your party? Because the Martins Amewule say they are members of the APC, your political party. From that point of view, how do you see it?
And that's a fact. So you can't take away the fact. They left PDP, they moved to our party, APC. They had been welcomed by APC. So that's a fact. There's nothing that can be done about that. What you see about political brinkmanship is that you want to move people from one party into your party. That's always the case. Who can you go over? Who can you bring in? Who can you carry over? So that has been done. What you now find is that we have a state where the governor is PDP, the House of Assembly, based on the court case, is APC. And remember that you have a local government, a whole local government structure that is APP. So you have three different parties running the state. Totally untenable.
Well, there are those who will say, yes, the local government chairmen are largely APP, but they are APP in bracket Fubara. And the APC majority House of Assembly in bracket pro Wike. It's a very delicate mix that your party find yourself. So the question is, where is Tonyeko? Where is Rotimi Amechi? Where is Tony Okocha? But at the end of the day, in all of these political brinkmanship, brigandage that we saw in the post-LG election, and all of these charade, because as far as I'm concerned, I see everything as all joke, to the extent that it's impacting on the lives and the livelihood of the Rivers people. All of this politicking means
Absolutely.
nothing, because if it doesn't benefit the people of the state, it means nothing. From your own point of view,
Absolutely.
how do you balance all of these jokes and make the people's lives be better? Because the people of Rivers State's lives are in the mix of this.
So, unfortunately, and I use this word very carefully, unfortunately, the people of Rivers State, as it stands right now, do not matter in the equation that is being played out. Because if the interests of Rivers people were on the table, we will not even be where we are today. This entire fight is political, and it has to do with a very small political family. They're not interested in what the issue is in the people of Rivers State. Because as we speak today, there's no development. As we speak today, the political battle is affecting the poor man on the street. There's no progress. So what we need to do is that we have to sit down thinking about the people of Rivers State and come to an agreement that, you know what, all of this must end. And I like what Samson said. It cannot be ended without the clear intervention of elders, political actors, stakeholders coming together to say that enough is enough. Rivers elders have been speaking, but they're speaking on the outside. The governor, in his position now, must reach out and call everybody onto the table, because that's what he can do on that end. He must call and say that, you know what, how can we find a solution on this? There's no player here that is not important. Whether you look at it from the Sim factor, you look at it from the Wike factor, you look at it from the Amechi factor, look at it from the Odili factor, but even if you look at it from the president's factor, there's nobody who is small in this. If you do not call everybody to the table and say, let us find a solution, it's not good.
Mr. Cole, apologies. Where I come from, they say when you want to settle a dispute, you call in the middle or at the center someone whom the two parties respect. In this sense, who does Wike respect? Who does Sim Fubara respect? Such that that kind of person can sit in the person in the middle.
There's only one person today that can play that role first and foremost. And that person has to be very interested in the peace and prosperity of Rivers State. And that is the president. Wike works for the president, and so he must listen to the president.
But the president has intervened once, Mr. Cole. The president has intervened once, and that intervention seemed to have amounted to little. And now they're back, in fact, hotter and more intense in this dispute more than before the president intervened. And the response that we got from the president is that let the court settle all this matter. But can this court settle this matter before things really get out of hand?
I doubt it. Now, what we're going to see is that we're going to see that the courts are going to come into this battle. But the courts are not geared towards bringing political solutions to issues like this. You can be sure that the local government elections that just happened is now going to be dragged in court. What you've already discussed with Samson, so there is a court dynamic, a judicial dynamics that is going to be happening. Let us leave the judiciary out of this, because they are not going to be able to bring a political solution to this. The outcome of what happens on the judiciary may not bring the solution that we see. I've lost it.
All right, just for a moment, let's go on a break. When we come back, we can continue our conversation with Mr. Tonyako, who is the governorship candidate of APC in Rivers State in 2023 election. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Tony Cole, who's the governorship candidate of the APC in the 2023 governorship election in the state. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight. There are those who
Thank you,
will say one too many is this political feud in the state. And for those who follow Rivers politics will know that even in the days of Rotimi Amechi, he spent huge amount of years fighting political wars and came in some weekend now, Sim Fubara. What exactly is wrong? Because I know they see a whole lot of these gentlemen, as soon as they get into power, a lot of things then begin to happen. There are those who say that Tonya Cole is also a gentleman, but they say when you get to the government house in Rivers State, there are those wars that you cannot run away from fighting.
The spirit of fight will enter.
But you feel like you are in an advantage, isn't it? Because your opponent defeated you in this election and now is facing all of this trouble.
You know, at the end of the day, I've always said this, Sean, that we have to break this circle, okay? And it's a circle that you're seeing. And unless and until you have a legitimate break from that circle, you will see it continuing. And I've always believed that my candidature was to break that circle and just have something different on the table that can move forward. But more importantly, there was a question that you asked before the break, and I would like to just go briefly back to that to touch on it. And we're talking about who would they respect to bring it forward. I'd mentioned the president, and you rightly said that the president had intervened before, but in his intervention, everything seemed to have just gotten worse. And I would say this very carefully, Sean. When you make an intervention in the first instance, you expect that people will go and move, but you don't walk away from it. You have to take a look at it and see that how can you move forward. And this would be my advice as far as Rivers State is concerned. There are certain people that Mr. President has to empower to go and speak on his behalf. Call the warring factors together because they have an interest, a larger interest in the state. And just off the top of my head, I can name 3 or 4 people that he can empower to go and see if he can mediate. I would call, first of all, an old politician who has been governor of the state that I know holds a lot of respect, like Ada George coming in on the one side. I would call somebody who is considered to be a very strong spiritual leader in the state, Pastor David Ibiyeomie, that I know that they both respect, and put him there. I will call an elder statesman who has very little to do with politics, but is straight and forthright. I will say exactly what he would say. Someone like Atedor Peterside. And probably, because of our interest one way or another within the whole Rivers State dynamics and all the things that may have happened, positive or negative, I would also call Her Excellency Patience Goodluck. Give these 4 people the mandate to sit these 2 warring factions down and have them, and maybe one more person. I don't know where he would fit in this because I know that right now he's on same side, but you may want to call His Excellency Peter Odili into that mix. But whatever the case, bring this who do not have a direct interest, so to speak, personal interest of gaining anything out of the mix, and have them speak to these 2 warring factors because of the future of the state. And I think the president needs to do something to that level. He may feel that if he comes in himself to try and bring them, they may not respond accordingly. And I doubt it that they would not. But bring people who have a particular interest in the larger purpose of the state and have them try and mediate. It's what I would do.
So you look at it, there are those who faulted the intervention of President Bola Tinubu, and they said that it doesn't have any place in the politics of Rivers State and should not intervene. There are those who faulted him, and there are those, some of them are elders and stakeholders in Rivers State. Do you think that the president will want to meddle again in what is going on in Rivers State when he did that at first, and in the long run,
yes,
the effort didn't yield result? But then there are those who came after him and said that he doesn't have any business and he should not put his mouth into the matter.
So I don't think the problem was the president's intervention in the first instance. I think what was the problem was what was presented as a solution. And that's really what was. When you are intervening in an instance like this, it's important that the outcome of it must be somewhat balanced. And I think there were people who did not feel that it was a balanced intervention. And they felt that one party was rerouted into accepting a position in the interest of peace. And that does not work. When you have the kind of situation that we have, there must be a balance. One party takes all, winner takes all situation in this instance, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, so because that's one of the issues that I saw here. Because now you can count two instances that the president has directly intervened in what is going on between Nyesom Wike and Fubara. Now, the first being that the meeting, which some people thought that it was a physical meeting between both men and the president, and there were instructions and there were orders and there were terms for this matter to be resolved. The other one was after the local government election, where there was a statement from the office of the president, and there are those who say, in the first instance, it does look like giving orders to the governor to go and do this and go and do this and go and do that, which a lot of people felt that that was too much in the favor of Nyesom Wike. Now, the statement released by the presidency also looked like it was so much in the favor of Nyesom Wike. In fact, there are those who believe that why did you mention the governor's name in the matter, and why didn't you mention Nyesom Wike's name in the matter? And, in fact, the governor said, why were you mentioning my name in all of this matter? So these are the issues. The president has been seen 2 occasions he intervened, 2 occasions he has been seen to be biased, perceived to be biased by those who are criticizing the intervention.
So an intervention cannot work if it is seen to be biased. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. As the father of the nation, at this point in time, we have to find an intervention that seeks a middle ground. At the end of the day, what are we talking about? We're talking about power, and we're talking about governance, and we're talking about a political system that has a terminal date. I recall, if history serves me right, that there was some upheaval in Lagos State with Ambode at some point, and it caused a kind of political discomfort here. What happened? At the end of the day, said, okay, you know what? Let this run through its course, and then we will deal with the issue when it comes to the elections. Lagos survived. People continued doing what they were doing. Life went on. People were still buying and selling, trading, doing business and all of that, even though there was some political discomfort. We cannot have in Rivers State a situation where the titanic battle for control of the state puts the entire state at a standstill. And that's the issue. So if interventions are seen to only favor one person, then the other party will not trust that intervention and will continue to fight for life, for survival, to the detriment of everybody. And I think, as a father, I believe personally, that as the president of the entire nation, of which is the president of APC, president of PDP, president of non-party persons, president of those who believe or do not believe, it is the duty at this point to stand in the neutral position and bring peace to Rivers State.
Now, you've mentioned former Governor Ada George, Pastor David Ibiyeomie, Miss Patience Jonathan, wife of the former president. You mentioned a fourth name that
Atado Peterside.
Yes, Mr. Atado Peterside. These 4, from your own point of view, should be co-opted as a special intervention emergency committee and team to go and douse the tension and quench the fire in Rivers State. If this doesn't work, For those who believe that there is fire on the mountain and rivers could burn, do you have that fear too?
So, Shehu, if this does not work, then it's fight to the finish. You know, at the end of the day, there are two outcomes here. The first outcome I've just described. Can we create a scenario? It might be an uneasy peace, so to speak, where it might just be a peace that just allows things to move. That's one scenario, and it's possible if we want peace for rivers for the next 2.5 years or thereabouts. That's that. So you can do that. The second option is what we are seeing, and let's assume that this option continues. What you are going to see is that first there's going to be a titanic legal battle and all of that. Now, people do not trust the judiciary, whether it's going to move left or right, nobody can tell you. But the judiciary is not geared for political fights. But as we all know, politicians try as much as possible to influence the judiciary. So you're going to have the governor doing his own, you're going to have the minister trying his own, and all of them will be ganging to see who can get the upper hand on the judiciary. So you're going to see a titanic judicial battle across board.
All right.
First in the legislative end, then you will see it at the local government end. Then you will see an impeachment battle that is going to happen, which means that there will be no peace in Rivers State for at least 1.5 years.
Wow. We thought where there is a lot of water, there should be some peace and calm, but it's been a rivers of turbulence and crisis over the years. Pastor Tonyeko, you better get back on your news fast. Take your Bible and pray for your state. And I wish the Rivers people the very best. Thank you so much, Mr. Tonyeko, governorship candidate.
Thank you very much.
In the 2023 governorship election. I appreciate your time tonight.